Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another transfer stream. So, we've got a bit to talk about tonight in terms of Callum Doyle. That looks like that's almost a done deal. Harvey Barnes to Newcastle, a little bit more on that. And then also Joel Piero, a little bit on that and a bit of an update on what's going on with that one. But before we get into any of that, just wanted to say a quick thank you. We've reached 4K yesterday, which again is a small milestone, but we keep moving forward. On to the next one, as they say. But also, we are joined by Neil. Neil, how are you doing, mate?
I'm all good, mate. So all good. I'm a little bit not concerned, but I'm like, I would have hoped they've got more information done. So it's good to hear the Doyle. We'll get into the Doyle news a little bit later on. But yeah, it's good things are moving in the right direction for me. And for me, the next thing is getting that attacking midfielder in. I think that's where we really need to capitalize on the next time.
Yeah, for me, I'm happy. I'm happy with the business so far. Connor Cody, I think, is brilliant signing. I think Harry Winks is a brilliant signing, and I think Callum Doyle. We're going to get onto him in just a second. It would have been good if it could have been a permanent deal, but still getting him on loan for a season, I still think that will be a brilliant deal as well. But it's like you say, just because we've done 3 brilliant deals or 2, hopefully about to turn 3, we can't rest on our laurels. It's got to keep moving forward, and like you can't stop and admire what you've done. You've got to keep driving in the right direction.
Yeah, and I think you're right. And also, it does depend on what players leave. At the moment, if you look to, for example, the Maddison, as soon as the Maddison was pretty much done and secured, Connor Cody and Harry Winks were pretty much ready to go. So I think they've got some of the players lined up. We've just got to, it's a balancing act where get these players out early so we can get our own players in, but try and get the good price on them at the same time. And we're in this kind of limbo at the moment. It's not a bad thing, but I would have liked to have seen, especially in the attacking side, just get more specifics in as well, because we are in a place now where it is coming, and we are going to Thailand relatively soon as well.
Yeah, and obviously I've seen a few people losing their mind over a pre-season friendly against Peterborough that was behind closed doors that none of us saw. But like the pre-season fixtures are starting now, so you do want to try and get these players in and implement so they can be implemented in the style. On that pre-season friendly, we're just going to touch on it briefly. Like from everyone who was there who saw the game, it seems very like the result. Yeah, no one is irrelevant. It's a pre-season friendly, but from everyone that you like that was there, you likes of Rob Tanner and etc. It all seems to be quite positive. The way that they're talking about the game yesterday, but again, I'm not. You don't want to overanalyze the first game of pre-season, but behind closed doors, friendly, but sort of wasn't broadcast anywhere.
No, and I've just looked online now, setting up this, going on to live. They've got the Northampton on stream, so they're gonna have that on stream at the moment. So it's worth tuning into. I'm away. I'm actually seeing Doug. I'm over in Edinburgh this weekend, so I'm really looking forward to actually going and see him. So I won't be able to watch it, so I might watch it on repeat or something. Might watch it on a kind of listen to commentary on the way down or something. But yeah, so I won't be able to watch that game, but I want to see the formations because apparently it was a 4-3-3 and in defense, and then a 4-3-4, 3-2-4-1 in out of defense. The thing is, it's going to take a while, and I think I'll speak to Rob about this with the podcast that we did, and it's going to take time for him to get the formation that he wants right and the players into the right mindset. You look at Ten Hag; they got absolutely spanked the first few games, and then he kind of figured it out. And I think it might be one of those, and that's okay because we just have to trust what Enzo's doing. And
yeah. We said it as well a while ago that like because it's going to be such a big change, not just in terms of play style, but player turnover as well. He needs to be given time. We need to have patience with him and let him try and implement the style that he wants. And there might be some results that frustrate us, like anything along the way, but it is what it is. And as I say, I'm not going to be sitting here moaning about the fact that we've lost a preseason friendly, but none of us watched, and that was behind closed doors. The first game back, and like this is exactly what preseason is for. And I'm not going to be one of those as well because I'm not going to be a hypocrite because I've said preseason, like you do want to build that winning mentality. You don't want to lose every game of preseason and get battered in it because it's not good. But also, when you see people like Rob Tanner saying that generally feeling from that first game was it's positive and that they're moving in the right direction, and you could see sort of early stages of what Maresca's trying to do. Like, I just feel like it's people moaning for the sake of moaning.
I've not been on Twitter much, so I haven't seen that. But to be honest with you, in terms of what we're trying to achieve, when we had Ranieri the first season, we didn't win a single game in pre-season, and then went on to win the league.
I thought I don't know why. I seem to remember us having a half decent one, but again, it's pre-season. Like, it's all about
matter.
It's all about fitness. It's all about shapes. It's all about tactics, etc., etc. But at the same time, you don't. I think particularly after the way last season finished, you don't want to go out and get battered every game in pre-season. But that's not what's happening. And I think the real games that you want to start to be looking good towards is the back end of pre-season, where you're a game away from maybe going into that first game. But game against Peterborough, like, who cares if we're honest?
It's the first game. Didn't we lose? Oh, last season's not the best, but it was. I remember watching it down about this time last year. It was just not good enough. From not good enough. Sorry, it doesn't matter. It genuinely doesn't matter at this moment in time. There's a whole change that's needed. Bearing in mind, 8 players have left, and there's probably going to be more by the end of the window. New players are coming in, new management, a whole new backroom staff. This will take time in order to get things moving in the right direction, and that's okay. But we just got to make sure that we get in the time, we're giving the time and the trust to go right. You know what you're doing, but it's going to take time. It's going to take months, in my opinion, to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into the live chat quickly. And guys, as always, 40 likes. Let's get those likes up. And also, I've put Beyond the 90 in the title. So if you could go over and like it on Beyond the 90 as well, if you're watching on my channel, it's always helpful. I'd be surprised if anyone's watching this who's not subscribed to Beyond the 90, to be honest, because practically Neil's always on here. But let's get into the comments. So, Sunderex, how are you doing, mate? Good evening. Caleb as well. Jack, yeah, very well, mate. I hope you are too. Danilo, welcome into the chat. Part of me expects Doyle to be done this week ahead of Thailand, hoping with Borges up front for sale, we can put in an offer for him. My thing with Borges, he looks a very good player. Again, Man City Academy graduate, but he also looks like he'll be heading to Bournemouth or I think Bournemouth, Forest, and then a couple of other. I think Atalanta was also one of the names linked with him. It's like, it feels like whilst we're a championship club, he's almost a step above us at the moment.
Which technically we are. We're in the championship. Let's be real. We're in the championship.
Callum Doyle to Leicester. I like it. It sounds good, doesn't it? Rene, how are you doing, mate? I hope you are well. Fiver says Doyle scores versus Cov if we get him, and love that first day of the season. Sources saying we're fighting for Casade. I saw a bit on that, but it seemed a bit. I don't know how.
It's not trustworthy. It seems that there's sprinkles of it, but there's nothing like concrete.
Yeah, and even the guy who put it out, he's actually a half decent source, but it was worded in such a way of Leicester could be interested in. Not saying Leicester are fighting for. I can't even think of the guy's name who put it out, but it was one of those where it was like Leicester could be interested in X, Y, and Z, and it's like, well, we could be interested in pretty much every player, but I'd like to know the players we actually are interested in. Chris, how are you doing? Not that I think we will, but it'd be class if we brought Howard Bellis on a permanent deal as well as Doyle. Yeah, Howard Bellis looks like he's going Burnley, doesn't he?
That shows you, again, if we get into the Premier League, that's when we can start attracting some of the players. Until we're in the Premier League, we have to get used to getting loan signings in that meantime.
Yeah. Any update for Piero? We'll get on Piero in just a second. Joel Piero Casare. I don't know how to say his name. I ain't
Casade.
Yeah, we'll go with that. The Chelsea youngster and Mavadi Didi. Oh, I wish they could have some easy names for me. Yeah, but it would be a very good window. Lads, Maresca hasn't even got a squad yet. Don't judge him for a while. Exactly. Needs time.
It depends on who goes out as well, because you got to remember some of these players won't go out at this period of time as well.
Fair enough. The Asia preseason tour sets back. Hasn't the Liverpool game been cancelled in this tour? I believe one of the games has been
Thailand wasn't.
cancelled.
Is it the game in Thailand, or was it against the Thailand national team?
Oh, is it? Because
Can't remember.
I think that's it. It's the last one of the tours being cancelled. I think because we're going to come back slightly earlier,
which is good.
Yeah.
Fixtures.
If we're going to play 3-2-4-1, we need wingers with exquisite ball control. We have to prioritise incomings. I think, as Neil said earlier, it's a balancing act. It's getting, we need players in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Players leaving is a problem. Players won't want to drop too much a wedge. We beat Brum 3-2 in the title-winning season. Reason we signed Gray. I remember that friendly actually. What's the?
Oh, we did. Okay.
I think Cassidy is pronounced Cassidy. Whatever. We'll wait to see. I'm going to watch some of his highlights and just have it with the commentary on, just so I can hear what the commentator says. But let's get into the Callum Doyle stuff. But before we do that, like some of both the streams here and on Beyond the 90. But coming from John Percy, so when John Percy talks, you listen. So Man City defender Callum Doyle will have his medical at Leicester City on Wednesday ahead of a season-long loan. Doyle could make his Leicester debut against Coventry, where he was on loan last season on the opening day. For me, as much as I'd like this to have been a permanent move, because I think he is a player that will kick on and keep improving and improving, getting him in on loan for a season, I think, is the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get the transfer, but at the buyback clause in. However, the permanent transfer in. However, if we have a good season, it's a good sign that, like, look, this is what we're building. We want you to be part of the team. Sign the contract. We'll pay this amount of money, and we want you part of the squad. And the best way to do that is by playing him and showing him that he's part of the squad. That again, and if he wins a trophy with us, then again, it looks even more brilliant on us. So it's a good signing. It's still a great signing, but you got to remember that this is the level we're at. We're in the Championship. Connor Cody and Harry Winks were great signings on permanence, but we have to bear in mind that the loan market may be where we look at this moment in time. Think about, okay, this is a good position we're in. Then try and convince them in the summer that this is the place to come. Look at the likes of Burnley, what they're doing with Man City academy players. We could do something like that, but the difference is they got into the Premier League. We just need to kind of not emulate what they're doing, but look at them as a template for how to run and what kind of players to get in.
Yeah, and I think the thing with Callum Doyle, and I think if he does come and, like, obviously the objective's got to be to get back to the Premier League as quickly as possible. But if he were to do that in that first season and he plays a major part in it, you more than likely would sign him anyway. But it saves a bit of a budget for this summer where you can go out and spend it elsewhere. But in terms of this summer, this season, it looks like we'll be playing a back three for the majority of the time. He slots straight into that.
I think so. So you're thinking it's going to be Cody, Suter, Doyle?
Yeah. And then you've got your options of Wild Faze, and then obviously potentially even Ben Nelson as well if you're going to go a little bit younger.
Yeah, we interviewed Rob Tanner about this, and we said, is Ben Nelson on the fringes because he was in League Two on loan. He did well, but I think Marescas likes him as a player, and because he's so versatile, it'll be the kind of player that they'd like. So for me, the problem is it's if there's any injuries, then you start to look, okay, there's a little bit of problems, and we are relying on squad depth. The problem is, again, Fast is there. I don't know Fast, but there's been nothing on Fast rumors nothing, no rumors of it at all. So he might be around next year as well. So him, Vestergaard probably should go. However, he's still one in the process at the moment that technically is valid till 2024. And if we're playing an attacking I can't see it working with Maresca, but he's still contracted if people don't put in an offer, because apparently I think it's €4 million to buy him. So we might be stuck with him.
It's not even just about buying him; it's about who's going to pay his wages, which is that's the big stumbling block, I think, more than his transfer fee. But the thing is, even with like in a back three, we've seen players like James Justin do a job as a centre back in a back three if need be. You see, I was going to say Castagnier, but the likelihood is he won't be here next year. But there is options there as well. So as I say, I think your front three, your back three almost picks itself in terms of Suter, Cody, and then Doyle if he comes in. But beyond that, I think there is options there of James Justin, potentially Ben Nelson if he's about in the squad. Then you've got also people like Lewis Brunt who can do a job there. It's not ideal, but he can do a job.
Yeah, so the thing is, defensive wise, once Doyle comes in, unless there's any outgoings, I kind of want to keep that as is. Unless we really, I mean, like I don't want Vestergaard here, but I can't see anybody paying, as you were saying, paying the wages. I want to keep him here as a squad player, and try and pick him off the floor ahead of his final free transfer out of the club. The problem for me is now, right, we've got the defensive side sorted, which was the main issue, let's be honest. Our going forward and attacking wasn't the problem. But now we've lost potentially pretty much lost Harvey Barnes, we've lost James Maddison. Have we got enough wingers and attacking players to connect the two together? Because that's my concern at the moment. I don't think we have enough players to build out from the attacking. We've got strikers, definitely, but who's there in that cam position? Who's there in that winger position? We don't really have anybody.
The thing is, as well, like as much as like it's frustrating that Barnes and Maddison going is the majority of our goals from last season going, and I think that we both were realistic of the fact they will be going. Like as soon as we got relegated, it is pretty much nailed on that they'll both be going. But it's now about how you replace those, because yes, we've got 40 million for James Maddison, but you can't just go out and buy a 40 million pound player just to replace James Maddison. It's not like the reality of how it works, particularly in the Championship. And same with Harvey Barnes. When Harvey Barnes goes, and we're going to get onto Harvey Barnes in just a second, you need to bring in 3, 4, maybe 5 players with that money.
Yeah. In terms of that, whether they'll do that or not, I'm not sure. But they've definitely got the capacity to. They've definitely got the player. They've got money too, but maybe they don't want to splash it all in one go. So there's a winger that's linked at the moment. He looks all right. But for me, it's that if we play that 4-2-3-2-4-1, you're more looking at number 8s. And at the moment, we don't really have that. I think a couple of players that shone from what Owen was saying, was it Winks shone, Cody was directing, and I think he said KDH was another one as well. The 3 players that stood out to him.
Yeah, it's one of those, again, you don't want to really look too much into a game of pre-season that we didn't see, but taking Owen's word for it, and then obviously, like, it's early days as well. But let's get on to the Harvey Barnes stuff. As I say, we've got what, 35 people watching. Let's get those likes up, guys. As I always say, it helps out massively. It gets the channel out there. So let's make sure we're leaving a like. So Harvey Barnes. So Leicester and Newcastle remain in discussions about Harvey Barnes. Maddison's 40 million fee provides a benchmark. Would expect an opening offer to be somewhere around the 30 million mark. For me, I think it will be like, it was basically that Newcastle want him for 30 million, we want 40 million. It just feels like one of those that's going to be met halfway on like add-ons and bits and pieces like that.
Yeah, and I think he'll do well at Newcastle if he gets the right coaching and Eddie Howe can get his arm around him. I think he'll be a great player. I just want him kind of gone so that we can kind of rebuild and put this to bed, because for the sake of that 10, 50 for the 5 million. How much is going to be? Again, it's not my money. I understand that they want to get business done and Newcastle dragging their heels, which I understand. And obviously, it's a great move for Harvey Barnes. But yeah, I'm not fussed about this one. I just want it to be done so we can actually know, right, who's going to be here at the beginning of the season.
Yeah. For me, I really like Harvey Barnes, but if he doesn't go to Newcastle, he's going to go to West Ham or Villa. Like, regardless, he's not going to be wearing a Leicester shirt next season, which is why I'm just of the mindset of the quicker this is done, the better. But at the same time, we can't be mugged off in the value for him. We've got to almost like dig in your heels to get the right value, because like James Maddison, we had to sell because he was 1 year left on his contract. Harvey Barnes, we have got a bit of a better situation contractually with him. I think if we were still in the Premier League, we'd be holding on for about 60 million. I really believe that. But the fact we've been relegated, it weakens your hand in negotiation. But we still need to get what we think he's worth.
Yeah, but yeah, exactly. So people have been saying, "Oh, it needs to drag on," but at the same time, when the rumors came out, I don't think they were true that it was 60. Like there was 25 million. Everybody went, "Really, you're blending that low, so you can't have it both ways. You've got to make sure that it's the right person for the right price." And at the moment, we haven't got really the right price, but we just need to get him gone soon. They can just argue over the odd millions or so that makes the differences up, and potentially they put into bonuses or something like that. I think maybe even they might have agreed on it, but maybe Newcastle want to do it over a longer period of time, and Leicester want the money up front.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that we've seen before, isn't it? Where we've taken a smaller fee overall, but had more in an upfront payment.
Yeah,
I believe
exactly.
Chilwell was the one, wasn't it? The big one where we took significantly less than we would have, but had the majority in an upfront payment.
We got 50 for him, so we got quite a bit. I think Mahrez was the opposite. Mahrez was a longer term deal over a longer period of time.
And then Maguire was all in one upfront payment, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's the ultimate one. That's probably the third biggest achievement after winning the FA Cup, selling Maguire for 80 million.
The thing is, have you seen that they're trying to like flog him off now? But like something like they're trying to put him out as like some discount deal of like 50 million. It's like we have seen him play football for the last couple of years.
Yeah, 50 million's not going to happen. It's genuinely not going to happen.
But right, where are we now? For me, as I say, with Barnes, I do like Barnes. Good luck to him, but it's just get the deal done quickly. It helps everyone. It helps wherever his new club is getting him in quickly, and I think it will be Newcastle. It also helps us. But something that was interesting, and I was listening to, I believe it was Rob Tanner saying this, that because he's a homegrown player, whatever the fee we get for him is complete profit in terms of FFP, which will mean we're absolutely safe from FFP for the next couple of years, really.
Which is good. But we've got to get the first stage over and done with. And this, again, the window's been good so far. We just need more bodies through the door. So that's why I don't mind more people on loan at this period of time. Getting people on loan, understanding what they do in the squad, and then building them more forward for the future. Because this project, I think Enzo was saying, this project takes 3 to 5 years for it to really get into the spell of things at the moment.
Yeah, and that's the word, isn't it? Project. It's not going to be an overnight click fix sort of thing. We're going to have patience with it. But quick point there, saying about loans. It's something that, again, I'm going to keep plugging it because it was a brilliant interview that you did with Rob Tanner, where he kept saying about we need to capitalize on the loan market. I think Doyle, if Doyle is going to come in on loan, which looks all but done, then I still think we need to be looking at other options as well.
In his position or just in general?
In general.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, fullback, I think we're fine. The only problem is if they can't, if they need to be able to, Ricardo and Justin need to stay fit. The problem is they're not. We've seen their injury record, and now they've got the backroom staff out. Now they're bringing in their own people. What I've heard as well, I think you've heard similar, that the players have been ran into the ground. James Justin and Ricardo have been ran into the ground in the way that Brennan used to train them. Now the old staff have come out. The problem is they're still both, even though they're great players, they still have a injury history. So we've got to play them quite carefully. And it just takes one moment, like the Grealish foul on Ricardo that took him out for ages as well. So we do want more bodies through the door, especially in the people. But our base is solid. Our defensive base is solid. Now it's about potentially the midfielders and connecting the midfield to that attack. And depending on, again, if Iheanacho, we'll get onto Piero in a second, but who's going to connect the midfield and attack? Yeah, what's it called? Winks is good, but he can't be the only option.
He's also not someone that he's someone that you get the ball to in the final third. He's not that player that makes that killer pass on a regular basis. He's someone who's tidy in the midfield, a very good passer of the ball. And there will be occasions where you can find clips of him making that final killer pass. But generally, he's the one who dictates play from deep, keeps the ball ticking, keeps it keeps the ball moving and keeps the tempo of the game. He's not the creator.
Yeah, but at the same time he goes, what's it called? Even with Owen, I'm looking at what he's read now. When he was saying it was clear to see that Winks is going to be the man for the LCFT. I'll put it up on screen actually. The one that this is what Owen was saying on Twitter about the Peterborough match. It was clear that Winks is going to be the main man at the LCFC plays. He sits in the base of the midfield, is very progressive with his passing range of Tielemans with the positional play of Mendy. Now, I don't mean this to be a slight because I think he's right, but Owen's been way overly positive, especially last year. But I'm happy to see that he's saying something positive because it's better than saying the opposite.
Yeah, 100%. And something that I liked as well, reading through that thread, is the bits about Conor Cody. If you could scroll through where you could say about him being a real leader in the back line, consistent through the first half. When I read that bit, it made me think about, when we were watching games behind closed doors and all you could hear was Kasper Schmeichel barking orders at people.
Don't start with me.
Which was a game where they had the microphone right behind the goal. I think it was Braga in the Europa League. And you could just hear Schmeichel absolutely barking orders left, right and centre. Yeah.
It's what we need. We need somebody in the back that he's been there. He knows it. I really like him. A tons of a guy and what he does and what he's saying. I think he's really good as well. So, yeah, that spine is so you got what? Who do you think we're going to start? Iverson starts next year. Cody, Suter's kind of that spine. Winks, and then Jamie Vardy up top. So we're building that spine, and also not just the spine. The wing back options are fantastic as well.
Yeah, my thing is I'm not as convinced that Iverson will now because the Zach Stefan rumours are not going away. And if you'd asked me, if we talked about this at the start of the summer, I would have 100% said that Iverson will be our number one this year. But when the rumours just will keep coming and coming and coming, and it feels like there's no smoke without fire in terms of the amount of people who seem to be talking about Zach Stefan. And if we want to be this fluid footballing side, you need a keeper that can play out from the back. Can Iverson develop that side of his game? Yes, but can he develop it enough to be able to play in the way that I expect Enzo Maresca wanting us to play? Only time will tell. But I think if he wants a new keeper, he needs to be backed with it.
At the moment, with the way that Iverson is, yeah, potentially, but I think he might be there's other priorities because we literally did a video on this recently, a little clip we put out beyond the 90, and Rob was like, even though it might not be the right team going forward, it might be the right person for what we need right now. There's other priorities that need fixing before goalkeeper.
Okay, so it's one of those as well. I forget his name. The young lad that we've got, the coach. Yeah. Isn't he quite highly rated with his feet?
Yeah. Should I play the clip now?
Yeah, if you could.
Since we're already here, let me just see if I can find the clip and I'll play it because it's only 2 minutes long. So yeah, we'll see if I can bring it up in the meantime. But just so we can play it on stream, so kind of we know what we both know what we're talking about. We don't know that. 2 minutes clip. So let me just play it. Let me just give you. I just need to skip the ad and I'll put it on the screen in a second. So just so that we're both coming from the same place as well. Let me see if I can find it. That one.
Whilst Neil's getting this up, let's get the likes up. 40 likes, as I keep saying. 40 likes is the target.
So this was it. I think it was asked by. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's play that.
One of the big areas I think, though, either we have to look to internal or external as our goalkeeping situation. Obviously, Danny Ward did not work out. We had Daniel Iverson, who I think was serviceable. Still got Alex Smith. He still got Jakub Solarczyk. But, I mean, there was rumors of us getting James Trafford. There's still rumors of us getting Zach Steffen. So where's kind of the club looking at our goalkeeping situation?
Well, I understand James Trafford probably be going to Burnley. So this is now the situation that Leicester find themselves in. You know, that they're not at the top table. So their bargaining chip isn't as strong as it was before. You know, they can't offer the money that other clubs can. I mean, they're not going to pay £19 million for a goalkeeper. Personally, my opinion, Danny Iverson would do the job this season for him. He was player of the season at Preston in his last season in the Championship on loan there. I didn't think he did a lot wrong when he came in. I think he is actually a decent goalkeeper. There's areas of his game that obviously need improving. I think fundamentally it's with his work with his feet, with the ball at his feet. So if Enzo wants to play out from the back and have a sweeper keeper type, then you know he might need to look at alternatives. But as a shot stopper, he pulled off some wonderful saves in that spell at the end of the season. You know, he is a good goalkeeper, I think. But whether he can go to the top level, he's going to get in the Danish squad. He's learning next to Kasper Schmeichel at that level. So I personally think there's other areas of the team that they need to spend money on. I think if you went into the season with Danny Iverson as your number one, whether you'd want to stick with Danny Ward, I don't know. But Alex Smithies is very experienced, and they have high hopes for Solarczyk. So I think, I don't think that's an area that he really needs to spend a lot of money on. I think there's more important areas of the squad. As I said, the attacking areas.
Pretty much what we said, and I'm kind of summarising it, but pretty much what we said at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, to an extent. I still do think, though, like, as I say, that a goalkeeper, like, if everything else is sorted, then a goalkeeper wouldn't be, like, it wouldn't be worse for him. But let's move on to other transfer news, and it's Joel Piero that we are talking about again. A player that I keep flip-flopping my opinion on him, whether I think he'll be good for us or not. But let's get into the news quickly. This is coming from Knots Live, saying Leicester have reportedly stepped up their efforts to sign Swansea City striker Joel Piero amid rival transfer interest from East Midland neighbours Nottingham Forest. For me, I'm now completely flipping onto the side of I think he'll be a brilliant signing for us, and like for that, but I think for a few reasons he can play off the left and as a striker. So if we're going to play two up top, which looked quite likely from sort of early predictions and early expectations, then he does a job there. Also, like his goal scoring record in the Championship is brilliant. What I will say though is, like, I don't want him to be an Iosi Perez type of player where he's brought in and supposedly can play on the left, but doesn't really, if you know what I mean. And it's round pegs and square holes.
Yeah, and that was the point. I think that was another signing by Brendan Rodgers. He was again, he didn't live up to the amount that he had, but I think the club will learn from this, and they have to put their faith. And do you know what's quite good as well? The amount of people that are leaving, the fact they kept on guy for Southampton, Martin Glover, the fact they kept him on transfers, I think was a good sign as well. So you're not just throwing everything out there. So I want to see if he can work his magic, but I've got a feeling that they weren't prepared for the Championship. A lot of the rumours that were coming out last year were Premiership, like we were going to stay in the Prem. So I think it's been a bit of a tough ask at the moment to try and change everything for now as well. So yeah, I mean, it is annoying, but what can you do at the moment? I think it's just like, right, just get some of these players in, NC at the moment, because I think, we'll come on to Joel Piero, because I think you were saying that Swansea have just bought another striker, haven't they? Striker that we were linked to early in the window.
Jerry Yates. I think Jerry Yates looks like a decent striker as well. Like, he's one of those that's he looks a bit of like a nasty piece of work, and I mean that in the best possible way. Like, we've been far too soft over the last season or so. And I think, like, again, I'm not going to claim to know everything about Jerry Yates, but the fact he seems like he'll get stuck in and he'll give as good as he gets. We need some players like that.
Yeah, and I think that's where Jerry is that's the kind of player that we need in terms of somebody's going to not take, that's going to go and get, and the fact that you've got him and Vardy playing in the same team, I think it'll be really dangerous. I think, again, with the striker wise, if we play out of the wing, he's wasted. We need to play him out in his actual natural position, and I think that might encourage him to go to another squad that's going to play him in that and that position. But I think he's interested from what I feel. Again, I've got nothing to back this up, but I can understand why he wants to come to us. But the problem is we need wingers, or we need number 10s at the moment, and he's neither of them really.
Well, he's a striker.
If we're going to keep them three.
The thing is, for me, he's like, his goal scoring record in the Championship's brilliant. Like, he's 23 as well. So this season, 30 appearances, 15 goals, 2 assists, and it's like doing that whilst he's been doing that in the Championship at 23 years of age. Like, that in itself is impressive. He's got 1 year left on his contract, so he's not going to be like a huge fee. But I just think there's something about him. You know, sometimes you see players and you're like, there's something about you. And like, I can't describe it. It's just the way that he strikes the ball, and the way that, like, he just looks like a natural finisher, and like, he's got that very clever natural movement. There's something there that I think would do really well at Leicester. But the fact that Atalanta are being linked to him and Premier League clubs, it just means, I think, if we want him, we can't sort of dither and sort of take our time with it. If we want him, we've got to put the money on the table, and put the money on the table quickly.
Yeah, and part of that as well, I think he'll want to play games. And the fact is, at the moment, he's going to be behind, because let's be honest, Iheanacho at the moment isn't going anywhere. He might do, but at the moment he's staying. Vardy's, he said, he's going to be the main man, and Daka's there. So am I going to come in to be fourth choice keeper?
Well, I'll say this right now: he would come in and be ahead of Daka. Like, I'm convinced he would come in and be ahead of Daka.
Depending on what they want to do, because at the end of the day, if we're playing the 3-2-4-1, there's only enough room for one striker.
Yeah, but then that pushes him out to the left, which, again, it could be this thing of versatility that Enzo Maresca was mentioning, how important versatility is within his squad. So I don't know. I do like the thought of Joel Piero, but the problem is, as I say, I think Rob Tanner alluded to it there, we're not dining at the top table anymore.
No, and that's the thing people got to get there. We did well to get in Cody and Winks. I think them two are great signings for the squad. Now we can look at signing younger players for that position. And I think that overall, I have got a feeling that I like Joel Piero, but I just don't think he'll come to us.
No, I think that's where I'm at as well. Like, it would be a great signing, but it just feels like it's. If we were still in the Premier League, I think he would come to Leicester. But the fact we've been relegated, there's other options that are obviously Premier League based, and obviously now Atalanta as well. And I can't help, this is a player that had been scouted for us when we were still in the Premier League, because you see the fact that Atalanta are scouting him now. Who's gone to Atalanta? Who's in charge of their transfers?
Yeah, exactly.
Lee
and obviously they took Lookman off us. So they know he knows what he's doing in that sense.
Yeah, so I feel like this is, I don't know, this feels like it's a Premier League target, but if we can get him a Championship, great. Like, I would be absolutely, like, very, very happy with it. But it just feels like it was one that, like, we're still going to try and get, but it's one that was sort of with Premier League football in mind.
Yeah, and we are in the Championship at the moment, but that is a position in terms of the number 8 that we've got that creativity we really need. Because at the moment, if we do go into the Premier League with this squad, it just seems like if you cut off that middle third, you'll be okay. You can cut off that strike force. And the only option we really have at the moment is Pereira on the right-hand side or Harry Winks. And that's our only two. And if either of them, and we can't play the same team week in, week out for every single game because they will burn out.
Yeah, 100%. Let's get into the comments quickly. Guys, leave a like on the stream. As I've been saying, I want wingers who can get a good cross in from a byline to a big centre forward who can head the ball in. No point having wingers who can get inside at all. I think that's a complete opposite way of what Enzo Maresca will be doing, of having a big striker and crossing the ball into him, if I'm completely honest. DM, cam, right wing, left wing, and a striker.
Do we
Cody,
need a DM? With the players we have at the moment, who's likely to leave? And Didi, then Samore, then Chowdhury.
It's depending on outgoings, isn't it? It really is. Cody cost Everton 4 million loan fee, hence why Wolves asked Everton just for another 4.5 million. So Cody value has always been 8.5 million. Thing is, I don't think I know it's a big fee for the Championship, but it's what he's worth. So I'm not too against it. And with Connor Cody, you don't just buy Connor Cody the centre back, you buy Connor Cody the leader and the personality as well.
Mm-hmm. And again, the charisma that we could have done with him last season. 100%.
100%. Our strikers are not good enough. Last season was a big drop off from all. There's no arguing with it. They all dropped off massively, didn't they, last season for differing reasons for all of them. But I think we've just about covered everything. Last comment here. If we don't spend the money and stay down, we're going to get screwed financially anyway. So spend big, bring in his squad and up the Foxes. Thing is, it's not just spending big; it's spending on the right areas as well and bringing in the right players. Because you could go and spend all the money in the world, it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. But it's spending it on the right players.
Yeah, and we've got to make sure that again we're spending it. You're right, spending it on the right players. But now we've got a solid base. We can afford to experiment a little more. Mm-hmm. And for me, even Doyle isn't an experiment. He's a well-proven Championship player that's on the up and is young. So we can afford to go a little bit risky, like more like our manager, somebody with less experience but a high ceiling and high potential.
Yeah, I completely agree. But guys, we are going to wrap it up here. So if you have enjoyed this, please do make sure to drop a like, comment, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Also, click on the title, subscribe to Beyond the 90 if you're not already. But let's get ourselves up to 40 likes. We will be back tomorrow, hopefully, with a little bit more on Callum Doyle. So, guys, keep an eye out for that one. But I'll see you guys in the next one.
Callum, the Rob Tanner interview.
Rob Tanner interviews there. Make sure to check that out as well.
Click on Beyond the 90, go straight over to it. Appreciate that. An hour and 15 minutes of interviewing Rob Tanner. So hopefully you'll enjoy that one as well.
Yeah. There we go. Just trying to pin it into the chat, but it's not working. But anyway, yeah, what Neil said, make sure to check it out, all that good stuff. But I'll see you guys in the next one.